lines. So, what did we know about parallel lines? You should already have this. Parallel lines have the same what? Same. Parallel lines have the same slope. Okay? Write me an equation. Dylan, give me an equation that is parallel to this line. Okay? So, what would not change in our new equation? What number would not change if the slope is the same? What number there represents slope? The 5 or the 3? The 5. So that's not going to change. The only thing that's going to change is our beginning point because we're sliding up and down the y-axis, right? So what's another number besides 3, Dylan? 2. That is a line that is parallel. They have the same slope. Jax? I'm aware of that. I said that 3 seconds ago. Thank you. Killian? Okay. Y equals 5x plus 4. Could we do y equals 5x minus 4?
Yes.
Absolutely. These are all parallel lines. Okay?
Can you do y equals 10x plus 6?
Does it have the same slope?
Yes.
Okay, couldn't do that. Slope has to be the same. The only thing that's changing in there are the y-intercepts and where you begin. So now that we're really good at writing equations, let's do this one. Okay? Write an equation of a line that is parallel to y equals 2x plus 1, but passes through the point 8, negative 2. Do we know our slope?
Yes.
What is it? 2. It has to be the same, right?
Right.
And the point is 8, negative 2. So now you have a choice to make. Do you want to just go straight slope-intercept form, the first way we did it, or use point-slope form? Kylie, which one do you want to do?
Point-slope form.
Point-slope form, okay. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So now we're filling in the blanks. Y and x don't change. Okay? This is point-slope form. Point-slope. You can do either. Okay? So, Kylie, what is your y value?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Okay? What's your m value?
2.
2. And what's your x value?
8.
8. Beautiful. What's our next step that we do?
Distribute.
Distributive property. Let's change this to y plus 2 because a negative is a
Positive.
positive. Do distributive property. What do you get?
2x.
Should be writing this down.
2x minus 16.
Minus 16. We're almost done. What do we have to move?
Subtract 2.
Subtract 2 from both sides. So, y equals 2x. What's negative 16 minus 2?
Minus 14. Plus 14.
What?
Minus,
What's negative 16 minus 2?
18.
Positive or negative, Brian?
oh, negative. Got that.
Does it have the same slope as this line?
Yep.
Yes. So the lines are parallel. Okay? The only thing that has to be the same, and it has to be the same, is the slope. Okay? There we go. Good. So perpendicular lines do cross each other, right? So if you go downtown in most big cities, they have streets that are the lettered streets, right? And then the streets that are the numbered streets. This is how they used to make towns up way back in the day because it was easy way. So this would be A Street. This is like this in Dixon. A Street, B Street, C Street, and then this will be first. Actually, this would probably be first, second, third. Yeah, downtown Sacramento is like that.
Africa.
Wow. All right. So the numbered streets run parallel to each other. The lettered streets run parallel to each other. They never cross. Right? A and B never cross each other. They run parallel. But First and A, that's the main intersection in Dixon, is at the intersection of First Street and A Street. Okay? So this intersection creates a 90-degree angle. They intersect perfectly at a 90-degree angle, which means they form a perfect square. So you guys have heard of right triangles? right? That's because they have a 90-degree angle, okay? That is a perfect square down there, okay? So, when you have the, and we'll see this on a graph. Actually, we'll do it in a minute. When you have the slope of perpendicular lines, they are the opposite and reciprocal of each other, okay? They're going the opposite direction, and they're the opposite slope. So if I gave you the slope of the first line was 4, and this is a sign you'll see for perpendicular, okay? The line that is perpendicular to it would have a slope of what? What's the opposite of 4? Negative 4. What's the reciprocal of negative 4? Wait, 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. Negative 1/4. It's the opposite and reciprocal. Okay? Jared, pick a fraction for me.
3 over 2.
I'm going to call these M1 and M2. So you see the line, M1 is the original line, M2 is the perpendicular line. Okay? If we did it again, what did you say, 3 over 2?
Yeah.
And I'm going to make it negative 3 over 2. So if the first line had a slope of negative 3 halves, what would the perpendicular line have a slope of? What's the opposite of negative? Positive. What's the reciprocal of 3 halves?
2/3.
2/3. Just flip it over. Okay? You can line through this for now. We're not going to deal with this right now. Let's take these two. Let's take this first example. So our first line was 4 over 1, and our second line was negative 1 over 4. I want you to multiply those two fractions together and tell me what you get. 4 over 1 times negative 1 over 4. Vanessa?
Yes.
I want you to multiply those two fractions together and tell me what you get. John, what'd you get?
-1.
Negative 1. Blue, what'd you get?
Got it.
Andrew, what'd you get? Negative 1. When you multiply the slopes of perpendicular lines, you should always get negative 1. Always. Anthony?
So when you sign convection, does it matter like if it's on the top, like with the name, does it matter? Like,
Nope. Good question. So negative 1 over 4, 1 over negative 4, or negative, right in the middle, 4, those are all equivalent. The fraction as a whole is negative. Okay? Good. So let's do it with the second one. We had, our first slope was negative 3 halves. Our second slope was 2/3. I want you to multiply those slopes together and see what you get.
Let me see. If it's like, your original fraction is like 3 over 2, and then you do the reciprocal, the 3 turns into a negative.
The fraction as a whole turns into a negative.
Okay.
So the easiest way is flip it and then reciprocal and then change its sign. Okay? So what do you end up with, Angelique? When you multiply negative 3 halves times 2/3, what'd you get? Yes, you do. What's negative 3 times 2? What's negative 3 times 2? Negative 6. What's 2 times 3?
6.
What's negative 6 divided by 6?
1.
What? Negative 1. You should always get negative 1 when you multiply the slopes together. Okay? All right, that's the end of those notes. Very quickly.